Hello, hello, and welcome to this live video that we're going to be doing about Microsoft Teams, making the most of Microsoft Teams. In this video, we're going to be talking about 10 new Microsoft Teams features that they just released in 2021 and all of the goodness that comes with them. We're going to be talking about exactly what they are, and then we're also going to talk about how they translate into the classroom. So super excited to get to hang out with you in this live video. My name's Matt Miller from Ditch That Textbook, and to my right on the screen, there's Holly Clark. Hey, Holly.
Hi, I'm so excited because Matt, I'm freaking out about one of these 10. I love it.
Yes, Holly has like a nerdy obsession with one of these, and you're going to be able to tell which one whenever we get to it. So we're going to be going through all 10 of these. We're going to highlight them. We're going to talk about how you can use them and what to know about them and all of that stuff. And, the more that Holly and I get to use Teams, the more that we see, A, how powerful it is for assigning work and keeping up with your students and communicating. But B, whenever they add these new features, it just sort of morphs and changes things and makes things just makes a lot more things possible, right?
Yeah. And I have to tell you, I will admit it. I've always been a Google girl, but recently in the last year or so, I've thought to myself, if I were at a school, I would be on the bandwagon to have both platforms.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I'm totally with you. And I could see, there's all sorts of benefits, I think, to having Teams. And some of these updates really reflect that. But I've even seen some places where schools will use two different learning management systems or two different ecosystems, so to speak, and they get kind of the best of both worlds, right?
Yeah, they do it in Texas. I haven't met a Texas school yet that isn't both Microsoft and Google. It might be a Texas mandate. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're going to be diving into these big updates. If you just joined us live, hey there, thanks for joining us. Go ahead and check in the chat and let us know who you are and where you're from, and we'll give you a shout out and say hello. So as you're checking in, let's go ahead and show you what these 10 features are. And we're going to be working our way through all of these. Some of them are little things, but then some of them are great big things. And you'll notice on number 2, it says, wow. That may or may not be the one that Holly is going to nerd out about big time. So we're going to start kind of checking things out here with number 1. So let's put that graphic back up on the screen, and you can take a look at number 1, which says easier access for top features like grades and assignments. And so what I want to do real quick is I want to show you my screen that has Teams on it, and you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. See, it used to be that a lot of these things were just buried under the general channel. They were like buried down here. But now, which makes a whole lot of sense to me, our class notebook, our assignments, our grades, and our insights are all kind of pulled out in this area, which makes things, it makes it so much easier. And it also, to me, organizationally, makes sense to put those in a separate place and not try to put them in a separate channel. And I've seen a little bit of chatter on social media saying that this is a nice feature, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And it's just an easy one and one to be aware of. You can't help but see it because when you get there, you're like, oh, there's where the stuff is. But I like that they make changes really quickly in Microsoft.
Yes. Yeah, I totally agree. So that's a little simple one. So that's a real quick one there. Let's go ahead and put the list up here again. And let's go on to number 2. Holly is so excited because we get to talk about reading progress. So Holly, go ahead and take that one away.
So if you'll notice under assignments, and this one people might not see, and so this is why I'm so happy to be showing this. When I go to assignments and I go to create, if I go to the attach, and if you're not attaching something, you might not have noticed this, but under the attach lives a little thing called reading progress. And reading progress takes out of teachers' time and energy and puts it into this assignment where kids can read, and we can check for fluency and phonic awareness and all of these things, phonetic awareness. I'm not sure how you say it. Guess I should have had this program. And here's an example of what it looks like. So a child, I would assign it as reading progress, and then I would attach a reading. So here's an example of a reading that is attached. Soon they're going to have a bank of ones that you can use, and then you send it to the student as an assignment. They can either use their video to record or no video. And I really like the video feature. And then they record themselves reading this. Then Microsoft takes it and puts in the AI and tells you how many words per minute. And Matt, you did better than her last night, so that's good. Whatever night it was, 2 nights ago. And she has 92% accuracy rate, but we can see her mispronunciations, her omissions, her inserts when she inserts another word where it doesn't go, repetition, self-corrections. And I have to tell you, as a person who was in charge of a lower school once, elementary school, same thing, we had to get subs for the reading. So we did reading records, and teachers had to sit with the kids and do all this manually. We had to get subs for the teachers. They had to do it. They only did it twice a year because it was so labor intensive. Now we can do it every week, every month. Kids can practice. Those kids who might not want to read in class, our English language learners, can practice and practice and practice until they get better. And we can see through insights what words they're missing, what words the class is missing. So maybe we can pick readings based on that. Soon you're going to be able to pick actually from their bank of readings to go at and target some of their areas where they need improvement. And I just can't believe this, because as a middle school teacher, I really didn't do this anymore, right? But I often didn't know how my students read. I got some data that said they're reading at a 5th grade level or 11th grade level. I don't know what that really is. I'll be honest with you. I don't know how to pinpoint that. But if I had done this at the beginning of the school year, I would know where every one of my students is. It would be beautiful.
Yeah. And see, to me, that kind of data, that's the thing that is so incredible, is that you can, if you continually use this kind of all throughout the year, you gather that data little by little by little over time, and then you start to see trends. And I mean, it's super helpful in the moment to see how a student does that particular day and everything. But when you start to see those trends, that is so empowering. It really gives the students some concrete, tangible evidence to see that they're making progress. And of course, you get the students that get to see that, but then of course the parents get to see it. It goes to the school. I mean, there's all sorts of people who are invested in kids reading better, and we get to see it with that data. So I love this one.
You're a parent. You could use this at home. Right. As an educator. I mean, maybe you have to have the education account, but didn't you worry the most about your kids reading as a parent? Everyone does.
Yep. And really all my recourse was I just tried to get them excited about books and find books that they wanted to read, and just tried to get them to read as much as possible. And this would be yet another tool that I could use in that way. So that's a really good point. Absolutely. So
I'll stop sharing now and we'll go back
to
3. But I'll tell you, for this reason, I would be chasing down my admin if I were an elementary teacher saying, can we please have both?
Yes. No, I'm totally with you on that one. That right there and is worth the price of admission, as they say, So, all right. So we've tackled number 1, easier access for top features. That's where the grades and the assignments and the class notebook and the insights are all kind of up in the top left, easy to find. Number 2, in Microsoft Teams, improve reading fluency with reading progress. You just saw that a second ago. And also, if you're on really on this, wherever place you're watching this, if it's YouTube or Facebook, Holly and I went live a couple of days ago talking about reading progress. So if you want to see more details about that, feel free to go watch that video too. Now we get on to number 3, which is giving assignments to groups of students. And this one has been a big teacher request for a long time. And this is really nice, especially when you need to do a little bit of differentiation. So we're going to go into the assignments and we're going to create a new assignment. And as we do this, we're going to add it to my class. And as we load this up, we're going to start to see, look, here it is. New, create a group assignment. Choose groups of students to try it out. And so right here where it says all students, if we click on it, we can go to individual students or we can go to groups of students. And if we go to groups, here's what it loads up. And this is what's super, super cool. So you can go either with manually grouping students or randomly grouping. So if you want to, let's say, have a certain number of groups. If you want to have like or if you want to have 4 groups, it says each group will have 1 or 2 students. In this particular class, I only have 5 kids. It's an example class, you know. But then, so then it just automatically puts them into group 1, 2, 3, and 4. I can change the name of the group if I want to. And then here are the people that are in it.
Yeah, so it could be like colonies, like the southern colonies and the northern colonies. That could be the group.
Yep. Or just simple like red, yellow, blue, green, or numbers or whatever. If you don't like the way that it's done, you can always hit recreate groups. And then you can start over again. Or you can manually group them and then choose students to be in this particular group, create that group, and then you choose another one. And so being able to make those groups is nice for a couple of reasons. One is that it does let you do group work a little bit more sensibly, because a lot of times, what did we used to do? If we wanted to do these group activities, we would do a series, or we would do an activity and then an assignment, and then we would, you know, just have one person turn it in for the whole group, which is kind of, it's like it doesn't totally fit with what we want to do. So this gives us a little bit more power, and it does mean that, you know, we can assign students. It gives us more control over this particular feature, I think.
I can tell you that right now I am having to use a different learning management system, and I have to do a group 1 assignment and put them in the assignments, all of them. And then I say to those kids, you're group 1, so that's your assignment, instead of just assigning to that kid. Yeah. So
yes. And you saw on the screen how easy it is. I mean, really, you just hit that button and then you either randomly create the groups or manually create the groups, and boom, you're set. And then one kid can turn it in for the entire group, which makes it really nice. So excellent. All right. We're through 3 of them so far. Easier access and reading progress, groups, group assignments. And now we've got gather meaningful data with insights. And Holly, this is one that isn't like brand new, but it's still a pretty big deal in Microsoft Teams, wouldn't you say?
Well, it used to be that you had to install it as a tab, and now it's just in there. So that's what makes it new and awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And insights, man, I tell you what, you know, for the longest time, we've been stuck with the data that's kind of like imposed on us through, you know, like standardized testing and all of that. Like we get back what they want us to see, or what they want us to see. Now, Insights gives us a whole bunch of data that's real granular, down to like the class level, down to the student level, and then just being able to access it, you know, right out of Teams anytime is pretty powerful.
It's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so that's 4. Gather meaningful data with insights. Let's go on to number 5, which is integrate your favorite apps into assignments. And now we've got a little bit more seamless integration between with this feature, right?
Yeah. So now instead of having to go to tabs, which you had to do before, so I might assign something from Pear Deck, actually, put it in a tab. I can now do that seamlessly inside of the assignment. It can become an assignment rather than saying to the kids, go to tabs where I have, you know, maybe Seesaw or maybe Book Creator there. I can do it inside of the assignment itself. So that's really amazing. Mm-hmm. There's so many good things here that I hope other companies will add. Microsoft seems to be leading the way right now on these updates.
Yeah. As far as listening to educators, knowing what they really want, and then being able to provide it. No, I totally agree with you.
I will tell you that Zoom has copied Microsoft, and they have that stadium seating now. And I was like,
oh no, do they really? I didn't realize.
I was like, Microsoft 2020, Zoom 2021.
Yep, that's right. They finally caught up though. So, all right. So we're halfway through. We talked about how you can integrate apps into assignments. Let's go to number 6. Filter the all assignment list. And this is kind of like 2 quick ones in one. These are 2 like little things in one. So filter the all assignment list and assign to up to 300 students. We won't take a ton of time on this one, but if you ever go to the all assignment list and you've got like multiple classes, it gets to be kind of a bear because there's a ton of stuff out there. And now you can do a search and you can filter down to the specific assignment or to the specific class, and then be able to go find that assignment, which is just a little nice touch that makes it easier to navigate. And then you've also got the ability to assign up to 300 students, which, hopefully you don't have like 300 kids all in the same class all at once. But, there's certain times where it's nice to be able to have lots and lots of people inside of the same team's class. And so they've bumped that number up, which makes it nice.
And if you're an elementary school teacher who also teaches college at night, you might have more than 30. And so that helps.
Yes, absolutely. So we're going to keep rolling along here. And Holly, I know you think this one's a pretty cool one. Yeah, so maybe you can take this. This is whenever you are completing an assignment in Teams, you can snap a picture to submit that assignment. So tell us about that one.
So, sometimes you might make so in California, we make these California missions. I hope people still don't make them, but we did back in the day. And so instead of bringing that big old California mission project into school and like wobbling in and putting it on counter space that teachers don't have, I could snap a picture of that and turn it in. And then hopefully I'd go to Flipgrid and talk about my learning journey or whatever, which I can put into the assignment. But that's a good reason. You can also take a picture that you did do the math thing. See, I told you I did it, and submit it that way. So there's lots of things that can happen there, but I really like the idea that you can do that with your phone. And for some things that you might not want to carry in, that's really a good option.
Yep, absolutely. And whenever since everybody pretty much has their mobile devices on them all the time, the ability to use the camera and to be able to turn it around like that, it also kind of like helps, I think, bridge the gap between digital and face-to-face. Sometimes people are like, oh, I don't need to use Teams because we're not doing this digitally, but this is kind of a way to capture that artifact and be able to, save it for later and take a look at it in that way. So let's keep moving. We're moving right along here. Okay, number 8. This is pretty cool. This is the social emotional check-ins with the Reflect app. And, especially after all of the remote learning that we've done, there's been sort of a renewed emphasis on this. But it's really something that's been needed, I think, for a long time. So the Reflect app, Holly, tell us what you think about that. What you like about that?
So I really like it, number one, because you can add it into an assignment. So it can be your question for the day. And it just gives you the opportunity to ask kids questions about how they feel, using emojis, using other forms. But I really like that. It's quick and easy. I used to do it all the time with forms, and it took me a while to populate. This is done for you. So it's really nice.
Yeah.
Quick check-in.
Yes, absolutely. No, I totally agree with that. So let's keep moving. Let's go on to number 9. And this one I think is huge. Return assignments to students for revision. This is like one of those little updates that makes such a big deal because, I've been saying it, Holly's been saying it, I've heard lots of people say it, that whenever students turn something in, then it's like the conversation about that assignment is over. Because they feel like they're done. They've received a grade on it. Even the feedback that they get after the grade, a lot of times doesn't get taken into account because all of a sudden now it's done. So now you have a couple of options. Whenever a student turns something in, you can give them the feedback. You can write comments, all of the stuff that you could do before. But now, instead of giving them a grade and having it done, now you can send it back to the students for revision, which is nice. And so whenever they get done with that revision, then they're able to turn it back in. And even in the status of the assignment inside of Teams, it even says submitted again. So it kind of like gives you that, that little visual prompt that says, this is the second time that this has come in. But it does it gives us the opportunity. This is like a little thing, but I think it's so big. Huge. It gives us the opportunity to turn assignments from something that's one and done into a conversation, because there's back and forth, right? And that's huge.
I hope everyone else copies Microsoft, but just putting out there, Microsoft's doing these things first. It's something I'm loving about Microsoft.
Yep, absolutely. So that one's a little simple one and an easy one. And then number 10 is all about one of our favorites, which is Immersive Reader. And now Immersive Reader is available in Teams on mobile, where we used to only be able to use it in desktop in the browser.
And anyone who's familiar with Microsoft knows about Immersive Reader. But if you are a Google person, here's another reason to go to your admin and say, can we please have both? Because this is something that helps struggling readers. It gives universal design for learning to all learners and helps kids change the background color of stuff that they're reading to make them more comfortable for any visual impairments that they might have. They can look at symbols. They can translate it by over 81, it's probably more by now, languages. It even has like 3 different Spanish languages, which is amazing. And it allows parents to translate. So awesome. And most of the time parents are doing their stuff on their mobile. So it's awesome.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. So that kind of wraps up all of the big updates that have come out here recently. We talked about how there's easier access to some of those top features, like grades and assignments and class notebook are all in that top left-hand corner. We've got reading progress, which helps students practice and improve their reading fluency. Group assignments, so that you can put students into groups. We've got insights, which is now easier to access and still as powerful as ever. We can start to put apps directly into assignments now. We have the filter and the assign to 300 students. We're able to submit an assignment with a photo by snapping a picture on the mobile app. We've got the fantastic Reflect app to do social emotional check-ins with students. We can return assignments to students for revision so they can work on the feedback and then turn it back in. And then there's also Immersive Reader that's available through Teams on the mobile, iOS and Android. So lots of good updates. One thing I did want to show you real quick as we're starting to wrap up is that I dropped this into the comments. If you haven't seen this yet, I've got a link to a blog post that I wrote that outlines all of this stuff. If you want to see what it looks like in screenshots and to be able to dive into some tutorial videos and stuff like that, go check out this link. And it's got all of these updates so that you can see them all in one place, so you can dive into them a little bit deeper.
And starting 2021 off knowing what's up.
Yes.
What's new here?
Absolutely. So hopefully this has been helpful to you. We're excited about seeing some of these updates, and we hope that you are too. So yeah, we're looking forward to seeing you on another video just like this one sometime in the near future. So take care, and we'll see you on that next one. All right.
Yay to Microsoft.
Yeah. Thanks.